Runtime is a test data portal that can execute, monitor, and automate various applications that have been generated from subset or privacy. And with these tools, users can create masking, subset, and generation templates for databases, and they can upload it into Runtime and they can execute it from there. And these applications can subset, mask, and generate for all kinds of databases. With the Runtime API, developers and testers can integrate the execution of test data inside a CI/CD pipeline. And this pipeline can consist of many steps, where you might check out some JIT code, you build it, you test it, but also create a subset, mask the data, email the audit report, and generate, for example, some additional data. In this demonstration, I will demonstrate the following capabilities, and we will get back to the sheets to do a recap of that demo. So let's go into the demo. So what you are seeing here is DATPROF Runtime. DATPROF Runtime is a web application. It's typically installed on-premise, so it's not something we host. Some of our clients are have it installed into their private cloud on Azure or on AWS. That's also a possibility, but it's not something we host. So let's log in with the admin user. What we are seeing here is the dashboard, and within the dashboard you can actually see what's currently running. So currently nothing is running, but what you can see is that that you can have groups over here, and a group is a cluster of different databases belonging to a certain functional group. For example, if you want to have all your databases for your dev teams clustered in one group, you can do it like this. So if you go into a group, you see all the different databases that is belonging to the dev teams. So I've got 3 Oracle databases over here. For this demo, we're going to focus on the master TDM project. And within this group, we have a master TDM CI pipeline. There's also a SQL Server instance, but for this, we're going to focus on this environment. So within this environment, inside Runtime, we have installed 3 applications. One is a subset application and 2 are privacy applications. One to mask it and one to generate synthetic data. The configuration is already installed. And when I, for example, want to just refresh this environment, I can log into this environment, go to the Gasware subset application, press the start button over here, pick one of the scenarios, and it will actually execute that scenario for this specific database. Well, we're not going to execute it using the front end, and I can do that as well with the other scenario. So if I want to mask the data that's currently in this database, I can press start, I can press mask, and then it will do the masking. We will not execute it using Runtime, but we will execute it using Jenkins. But first, I want to show you the demo data. So I've got a tab over here. Maybe I have to log in again. No. So this is my TDG test 2. And TDG test 2 is currently completely empty. So there are no customers, no suppliers, no contracts. But I have a magical switch over here in which I can switch to my production demo data. So this is my demo database. Pretty simple. I hear you think, well, this is too simple for me. We have clients with thousands of tables. So this is just to show the simplicity of our software and how you can use it on a data model. So this is an application, and behind the application there is an Oracle database. And what we want is to fill this TDG test 2 with data coming from production, a subset, mask it, generate an HTML audit report, send an email to me, and also we want to generate some additional synthetic data. And we're not going to do it using the front end of the Runtime API, but we're going to do it using Jenkins. So for all of you who don't know Jenkins, Jenkins is an open source CI/CD pipeline tool. It could also be anything else like Azure DevOps or Bamboo or whatever CI tool you use. So within Jenkins, I've got multiple pipelines over here, and my pipeline is not very complex. I've just focused on the steps that I want to execute within runtime. When I go into configure, you can see the actual build steps. So I've got 4 build steps. The first one is to create a new subset. The second one is to generate a masking template and to execute the masking template, so to mask the subsetted data. The third one is a PowerShell script that uses the runtime API to download the HTML audit report from the masking run and send an email. And the last step is to actually generate some additional synthetic data. So let's save this. And when I press build now, it will start the build process. And you can see on the left side in the background that runtime is actually starting the subset process. So let's go into subset, because we now have a new view with the monitor, and this environment, this database is currently getting new data. It's getting a subset of a production database, and it's currently executing. We can also see how much time is remaining. So this is a small database with not a lot of tables, but you can imagine that if you are subsetting, for example, terabytes of data, it can take a little bit longer. It's finished. Let's go back fast because the next process already has started. So what you can see over here is gasware masking is currently being executed with the scenario mask. So currently the subset is already present inside the database, but it's a subset of a production and we want to mask it. So currently it's masking it. There are some of our clients who do it in a different way. They say, for example, we have a copy of production that we mask. That's our master TDM environment, and we extract different subsets from those master TDM environment. But after each run, you will get an overview of the modules that have been executed. Currently, the last run is executing. It's the generate data. So it's actually generating now synthetic data on top of the subsetted data from my database. And hopefully I also have an email in my email box with the audit report. So what you can see over here is all of the information of a specific run. So in this case, the generate data, the synthetic data was being executed. You can find out all of the details about certain modules. If you go into a module, you can actually see the code that's being executed. So there's lots of information that you can dive into. If you want to see the full run history of this environment, you go into run history, and here you can see of all the previous runs of all the different applications that have been executed for this environment. So the last three runs were the generation of synthetic data. It was the gasware masking scenario, the gasware subset application. And if you go back, for example, this one, gasware masking, of each masking run, you can also download the HTML audit report, which is this one. So you can go back, see what happened with your database if the masking is already been executed in a correct way. But what we did with this demo is that we've sent a mail to me with the HTML audit report. So I will open up my mailbox and I will find the mail, and here we have it. It's from 1 minute ago. It's an automated message that we've sent using a PowerShell command from out Jenkins. And when I open this one, we see a full audit report of the masking run. So there was a table customers, and the first name of the customer is being replaced with synthetic first names with the generators. The date of birth is being changed. Last names are being replaced. Some of the last names are being shuffled. There is some expression going on the email address to generate new email addresses based on the masking of the first and last name. So pretty advanced stuff. It's really basic, only 2 tables for this demo environment, but typically your masking template consists of a couple of more tables. So let's close this and let's go back to runtime. So let's take a look inside the data. We go back into the demo environment. It's currently empty, but we have to refresh to get the subsetted and newly generated data. So this is still production. I have to go back to the test. And what we are now seeing in my application and also in the Oracle database that's behind, that there is data. So I think these were the IDs that I've synthetically generated. Can maybe find one that is coming from production. Let's go. Yeah, these are the IDs that were coming from production, but these are anonymized. I also have, let me reset this filter. I've got products now, I've got suppliers, I've got contracts, tasks, locations, etc. And it's still a fraction of the production database, so it's still very small and usable. I can backup it, I can restore it easily in different environments, so that's pretty handy. Within Runtime, you can also add triggers, which is also cool, because what you can do with triggers is, for example, when a certain condition triggers during the run or after a run. So in this case, it will trigger when the status of a run goes to done. Then it should, in this case, is the action execute a command prompt. And in this command prompt, I send push notifications to my phone and to my Apple Watch, so I know that this environment is currently done, being executed certain scenarios. And also great feature, and this is also a part that we will extend in future updates, is permissions and roles. So currently we have self-service users that have limited ability to actually do something with runtime. So for example, John, and John is a self-service user, but John only may execute the generate scenario of this application. So when I log out and log in with John, I only see the dashboard view. And from the dashboard view, I can request a new run. So I say new run. I want, for example, the master TDM environment, but I can also choose, for example, the dev team environment. I can say I want a new gasware subset. I can say I want the refill scenario and click start, and then it will actually create a new run. John cannot actually change anything, so he cannot mess up the environment, for example, change the connection parameters or install a new template. John can just press start run and he will get a new test data environment.